Amanda here from Create with Scrimping Mummy. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we're working on the Queen Bee journal cover. So I've done a full tutorial on how to make this really rather lovely craft cardstock wrapped, fully wrapped journal cover. It's chipboard. Okay, so that's in my previous video, and today we're going to work on the front cover. I'll see how long the video is, depends how much I get done. Otherwise I'll split it into two videos. So the first problem that I came across is I've used craft card, but it is scrapbooking paper, so it's patterned on the back. So I can't create any of my pockets that I want to put in here out of the same craft. Okay, if you have craft card, you can cut all of the measurements, and I will be giving the measurements in this video, so you need to pay attention and jot them down. You can create all of the elements I'm making out of craft cardstock if you have normal craft cardstock. Okay, and then you can line over with patterned paper. Printing out 120 GSM will be more than adequate, or whatever. Okay, so because I can't use the craft, I've actually printed some of my designs on lightweight cardstock. Okay, and that's how I'm getting around my little problem. So to start with, I've printed the green spotty dotty on both sides, and then I've printed out the pink one and with yellow on the back. Okay, that's because I know that my pink piece is going to be a small piece, so then I can turn it over and I can use some of the yellow for something else, but this is going to be a big piece. So your first size piece, you want to cut a piece that is 7 inches by 8 inches. So I've got my A4 here. I'm going to cut the largest size first, because to make sure it fits. So 8 inches, okay. So I'm cutting on the long side of my A4, and all of these will fit within US letter size as well. So 8 by, what have I put, 7, 8 by 7, okay. And then for the second piece, we want 6 by 3.5, okay. So I know that 6 will fit on there, so I'm going to cut the smallest one this time, which is 3.5. That way I'm kind of saving a bit more space. So this time on the long side, I'm cutting the 3.5, and then I'm going to cut to the 6. Okay. And that just leaves me that little bit of waste, and I've still got this big piece. All right. So on this piece, while we've got it here, we just need to score on one of the long sides. So you're putting it in with the 3.5 inches facing the top. Okay, sorry, 3. Yeah, 3.5. So we're going down to the 3. Okay, and we're just going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're just scoring 1/2 inch there. Or you can turn it that way and score 1/2 inch. It's just easier if you do it that way, because you've got a longer piece. And then on this piece here, you want to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay, so I can see 1/2 inch there, so I'm going to use this side of my trimmer. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay. Super simple. So this is going to be very simple, but we're going to make it look really pretty. You know, nice designs don't have to be complicated. We're going to make the paper do all the work for us. That's why I design nice papers, and we can make those do the work for us. Okay, so that's scored on all 4 sides, and that one's scored at 1/2 inch down one long edge. So whilst I'm here, I'm also going to cut a piece. Let me just have a look, which is the... Okay, I'm also going to cut a piece at, let me remind myself what my belly band is, 1 inch. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which way I cut this one, because this is a larger piece and it's more or less the same whichever way. So 1 inches, I think that was right. Let me just check. Yeah, by just a hair width off 6. In fact, I'll cut it to 6, and then if I feel like I need to trim a sliver off, I'll do that with my scissors. So we've got these 3 pieces so far. Right, so fold and burnish, and as you can see, because I've printed on the other side, when you lift this piece, you're going to have patterned on both sides. Okay, so then where you've got this fold here, these 2 bottom corners, you either want to round them, or if you've got a fancy edge punch, I'm just going to use my trusty card that I use to create tag shapes. If you've got a tag in your collection that you like the shape of, make yourself a template. Okay, so this is just going to give me tag corners. Okay, I do have a punch that does it, but sometimes I like to show people how to do things without fancy tools that that you might not have. Okay, this is invaluable. It's an old fuel card, and this stays right in front of my desk so I know where it is. Okay, so I am going to be inking, and I'm actually using quite a dark, although it's a bright collection, I'm actually using quite a dark, I think, is it espresso? What's it called? Ground espresso, is it? I can't even see it. Yeah, ground espresso. Just because that stands out nicely. You don't have to ink. Not everybody likes it. Okay, I just quite like, it gives me a bit of a vintage feel. Okay, and then I'm going to ink on the inside. Always easier to ink your pieces before you stick them down, although it's not impossible if you forget. And I'm just going to turn that, and I'm just going to ink along that edge. I know my cardstock won't crack. Okay, it shouldn't do anyway. All right, so let's just bob that up to one side. I've got my belly band. I'm just going to ink that. If I need to trim it down, then I'll just have to re-ink one edge. This is going to be the belly band. Okay, but don't worry, we're going to make it look super special, so you must watch all of the video. So now you want to fold and burnish all of those score lines. Okay, right, just let me check I'm in shot. Do I need to pull it down a little bit? Yeah, I need to stay about here. Just shout at me if I go out of shot. Just go, oh, Amanda, you need to move it down. I'll hear you. Right, so it's easy to know which way up this goes because the taller section is going to go up your book. Okay, and the narrower section is going to fit across your book. So what you want to do is open all of these, and on one of the narrow sections, okay, which you were gonna, once we've done this, then becomes the top, where the lines intersect, you want to very gently mitre. So when we're mitering fuller, we're mitering straight across at an angle like that. Well, on this one, we're not doing that. We're mitering just a sliver of a triangle. So from this, where the cross is, to the left of that score line, you're just a gentle mitre, okay, up to there. And then on this section here, we're going to do a full mitre, which is at an angle, okay? And then we're going to do the same here. So here, you've got your intersecting score lines. To the far right of this one, we're doing a gentle notch, okay? So that's a notch, and then the full angle is a mitre, and then we're turning it, and we're going to mitre, okay? So can you see the difference there? That's a gentle slope and that's a severe slope. And then this is now the bottom. So we're going to cut straight across the X where the score lines intersect, straight across the middle of that X at an angle with your scissors. Try and do it all in one go, okay? And then we're going to do the same here. Now at this point, what you want to do is you want to just turn it over, and you just want to check that when you fold those two together, that these are not clicking on each other or they're not overlapping. okay? And you can see that one, is that overlapping? That one's overlapping ever so slightly. So I'm going to go back in, okay, and I'm going to trim it on the slant. I'm not taking any extra off. Don't go over that score line. I'm just taking a sliver off so that those don't overlap. Because if they overlap, they're going to lay on top of each other and create bulk, and your pocket's not going to lay flat. Okay, so this top section here, we are going to adhere down, because it, just to give it strength, because it's a pocket and it's going to have traffic going in and out of it. We've got room to strengthen it, so we can. We don't always have the room to do that. It's not always fully necessary, but when it's on a front cover, we don't want anything getting beat up. Okay, and I'm using tape for quickness for the video. I shouldn't be doing really, because it's far too expensive to be using on flaps, but there you go. Okay, so that folds down, and then these other three you're going to fold in. You're going to add your glue or your adhesive, and we're going to attach it to the front cover of our book. I'm going to open it like so. Okay, all right, so I'm going to use glue on this bit, and I'm using my Collal, because I found that the Nuvo glue for constructing things like this, it dries too fast. It's brilliant for you know, when you're decorating things, or you're laying embellishments down, or you know, you don't need any wiggle room, or it's not a mega porous surface. So if I need a longer drying time, i.e. I want to be able to make sure I've got something in the right position, I'm using my Collal. Okay, so now what we're doing is we are going and we're putting this down, and we're looking for it to be flush here, with not up to the spine, go flush with the edge of the book and the bottom of the book. Okay, because if your book's not perfectly straight in the gussets or whatever, then you want to go for this straight edge here. Okay, and flush with the bottom, no gaps, flush. Okay, just feel with your hands, make sure it's flush, and it is. Okay, I'm just going to give that a burnish, and then just give that some time to dry. Okay, right, so then this top bit here, this flap, we're going to glue the back side of the flap, and it's going to go right at the top of your journal cover to create a simple pocket. Very simple, things don't have to be complicated. So again, to line it up perfectly, we're going to go with the edge and the top like so. Okay, I'm just going to lift mine up a bit. I want it right to the top, right to the edge, so that it meets up nicely with that line there. And if you're meeting that line up there, it'll meet up there, because I've cut them the same size. Okay, okay, now what I will do later is I'll go in with some 120 GSM and I will line that pocket, but I will only cut the paper like that big. Doesn't need to go all the way in the pocket, about that big. So I'll be cutting that to about 3 inches. Okay, there's no point wasting paper down there. Okay, whether we'll get to that bit in the video, I don't know. That's slipped. Let me just straighten it. See, that's the beauty of Collal as opposed to Nuvo. If that was Nuvo, it would have just stayed stuck on wonky. Right, so now I'm going to have a look. Now my belly band needs placing in a certain place. So I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to get my ruler. Okay, and I want it about halfway. So this is 8.5, so I'm looking for 4 1/4, which is there. I'm going to make a gentle pencil mark there. Okay, 4 1/4, and I'm going to do the same at the other side. 4 1/4, gentle pencil mark so that I can rub it out if needs be, if it shows or whatever. Okay, I'm just going to put a gentle line there. I can rub that out. And then we're going to just have a look and see if that fits nicely. It doesn't need trimming, that fits fine. Okay, so we're not doing folding flaps on this. We're just going to glue it straight down. So you want quite a thin bead of glue. Okay, thin bead of glue. And we're going to gauge where halfway is on this bit and line it up with the little lines that we've made. The spotty dotter paper, if you've cut it straight, the dots will help you line this straight. Okay, alrighty. So I'm just going to rub that pencil mark out there before I forget and wait for this to dry. And what we will do is, whether I do it now or whether I do it in the next video, I'll be creating some form of large tag to go in there. Okay, now bearing in mind that it doesn't have any folding under bits, so our tag will need to be smaller than 6. I would probably make if you want to steam ahead, if I don't do it in this video and you want to steam ahead, I would probably make my tag about 5.5. Okay, but you might want to see how much glue you've put in first. You might need 5 and 5 3/8 or 5 1/4. You'll have to see how you go. Sometimes we have to adjust things depending on how other things have gone. So then whatever tag we put in will hold this shut, and we've just got a simple pocket, but we're going to make it look fantastic. And here's what I've done. So I have fussy cut. What I've done is I've printed one of the journal pages, 2 to a page, which shrinks the size down. I've printed it on lightweight cardstock. Okay, I folded it in half. Okay, and then I fussy cut the bees. Now you can see from my image here, okay, I have not fussy cut every tiny last little bit. I focused on the large flowers, okay, here, and the bees. Okay, don't worry about the leaves and these tiny little bits of rosebuds and all of these. I've cut those away. I've left 1 rosebud and 1 leaf. Otherwise it's just the 3, 4 flowers and the 2 bees. Everything else I've cut away. Okay, and because I folded it over, I've got a thick layer of cardstock. So now I can glue those together, and that just makes it sturdier because it's on the front of our book. We want something that's sturdy, because if it's sliding in and out, example of a bookshelf, if you just did it in just paper, it could get beat up. So we're doing it in cardstock, double layer. It's not difficult. You could do single layer if you struggle to with your hands and things like that. Cutting through 2 layers of cardstock might just be a bit much. So 1 layer will be all right, but 2 is just that bit more sturdier. So I'm just going to wipe that excess glue off. I apologise in advance if you can hear my dog snoring. He's exhausted, bless him. He's had an hard day. He's got up, he's had a walk, and he's gone back to sleep. And that's just about as far as he's got today. It's about as far as he's got. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to dry a moment. And I'm going to, do I want to ink it? I do want to ink it, but what I'm going to do is, if I can find them, let me see if I can find them. I have somewhere some little tiny ink daubers. If I can't find them in 2 seconds. Here we go. So let me just, I'm going to use a little triangle one, I think, because you can get in the nooks and crannies with these. Okay. You don't have to ink it at all if you don't want. Okay. And I'm inking from the back. If you ink from the front, you can put too much ink on. So I'm kind of like lifting it and I'm inking from the back almost. Okay. really carefully. I'm not even doing it all. I'm just going to do bits of it. Okay. Just helps it stand out a bit. Don't matter if it's not perfect. On this channel, nothing has to be perfect, okay? Even though I'm a complete perfectionist. And if something's not right, I'll do it again. But that's because I'm a loser. You know, perfection's for losers. Nothing matters. Life's too short, so don't stress. Progress is better than perfection, okay? So actually having a go at something and doing it is far, far more important than thinking it needs to be perfect, okay? So just ignore me and my weird ways. A bit more here. Okay, that'll do. And then what we can do is we can attach that there. That's just gonna give you a bit of a closure, even if you don't put a tag in, but we're gonna put a tag in anyway. It's just giving us extra. So let me just, I want it about across there. Okay, so if I put my thumb there and go in a straight line, making sure I don't go over about a width by my wonky eye. Okay, and then decide how you want it. Do I want it like that? Do I want them like that? I think I'm going to have it like that. And you're looking for more or less the middle, but again, you know, you don't have to measure it like me. So I'm a weirdo. Let's have a look. Where's the middle? 6. So the middle's 3. I'm happy with that. That's more or less in the middle. Just let me put my lid on my distress ink because I will stick my journal cover in it and make a mess. Okay. So we may go back at a later date and add a little word there or something. I don't know. But there we have a very simple little pocket. Don't forget, we're going to put a tag in there, okay? So something large is going to go in there, which I've not decided yet, and that will hold it all closed. Super simple, super pretty. If you're feeling energetic, you can use some of the other fussy cuts in the collection and further decorate it, which I may do at a later date. Just let me rescue my tape because it's sticking to my desk and it's far too expensive to waste. Right, so I'm going to get the pieces together for what we're going to do on the inside next. So bear with me and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so whilst I was having a think, I've just quickly knocked up a journaling card to go in the front, so I'll give you the measurements. So I have cut mine to 5 1/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, and then my paper layer I've cut to 5 by, it'll be 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, I've punched out a little tab. You know, you can make these on an envelope punch board, or if you've got a punch, or you can just cut a rectangle and fold it in half and glue that on. Okay, whatever you've got to hand. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need to glue this on because I want it to go under the paper layer. Okay. So, oops, a daisy, I'm all fingers and thumbs. I mean, this is not rocket science, but you know, simple is sometimes just as good as complicated, if not better, because then you feel like you can do it as well. I don't do complicated, right? So that's 1 3/4. So that is not in the middle. So let me move it right over, because I do kind of want that in the middle. So find your centre point, make sure you're even. So we're just about 2. A little bit more over there. Try and get it sort of in the middle. Let's have a look. Where's my middle point? There's 0. That's not working. Hold on a minute. It goes upside down, this one. Hold on. So there's the middle, 2.5, 2.5. It's not far off. It's good enough for me. It's a tiny little bit out, but it's good enough. And then this is just 120 GSM copy paper, because this has already been done on lightweight cardstock. I need to change my glue bottle, it's running out. Okay. And we're gluing all over, and the glue will make the card stiff. And that's to our advantage in this instance, because we want sturdiness. Okay. So this is just taken from one of the collage pages, and I've just cut the homed in on those flowers to accentuate, because we've got pink, then green, then yellow. So we're tying back in with the pink, and then we're lifting this green back up here, so that it all looks kind of nice. But, you know, use your favourites, it doesn't matter. You can layer on plain cardstock, you can layer on craft card, you could layer on white card. So on the back of there, you could add another image or a 5x7 photo mat. Okay, so now that will slide in there nicely. Okay, and it will coordinate with our cover. Okay, now it shouldn't slip out. It's not doing, because we've glued this band straight down. It makes it tighter. If we'd have done flaps, then that gives you more room, and that would have slid out, but it shouldn't. If you find yours is slipping out, use one of the circles in the collection, or if you're not using my collection, punch out a 1.5 inch circle from some pretty patterned paper and glue half of it there. Okay, and then it will act as a stopper, but that's not going anywhere. Okay, so that cover looks pretty already. You could add lace, you could add what you like. Right, let's get on with the next part. So I just want to do simple stacked pockets. So I've printed this collage sheet out with the yellow roses to one side, and I'm going to make my stack pockets out of this one sheet. Okay, now I know that my covers are 6 inches wide, so if your covers are a different size, you need to bear that in mind. So I will go, if I'm doing a pocket, that's 6 inches, I need to add an inch on. That gives me 1/2 inch each side to fold under. So if your cover's different, measure your cover, whatever that size is, add 1/2 inch to the width. So we're going to cut this first of all to 7 inches. Okay, so I'm cutting along the long side at 7. And I want to home in on these bees. Okay. So I'll save that. I could use that as a pocket somewhere else. Okay, or something, or a tuck, or a journal card, but I'll save it. So 7, right, so my first pocket, I need 1/2 inch at the bottom. All right, and I'm homing in, I'm using the bees as my guide. So I want that bee there to be on my first pocket. So let me just have a think. Lift that up, I might have, it's fine, I'm just going to go in between these bees here. Okay, yeah, then I'm going to score 1/2 inch on one side, 1/2 inch on the other side. I'm in shot. Make sure I'm not using my cutting blades, that would be a nightmare. And then on one of the lengths with the shorter end to the top, so you're scoring along the shorter edge, but it's coming down here. We're gonna score there. Okay, so that creates our first pocket. We're gonna fold and burnish those score lines. Let me just move that out of the way. Where's my burnishing tool gone? There we are. Okay, if you've got a fancy edge punch, you could punch that edge and make it fancy. I'm not gonna, because I'm lazy. I might add some tabs to mine, I don't know yet. We're gonna cut straight across the X there. Okay, we're mitering. Okay, straight across the X, make sure they don't overlap. That one does a bit. Look at that one's perfect. Okay, whilst they are folded down, give them a good burnish so that it sits neatly on your page. If you want to ink it, you need to ink it now. Okay. And then just have a look when it's down flat. Can you see those flaps? If you can see the flaps, you might not have scored it or cut it quite straight. If you can see any of these flaps from the top, just snip a little sliver off at an angle. Okay, mine are fine. So there's my front. Bring my journal back in. Glue these. Glue on here. Do I need another bottle? There we go. Plenty of glue, but not so much that it's all going to squash out the sides, because then you've just got to clean up, and who wants to be in a big sticky mess? I don't. So we are going to, because this has been cut the width, okay, we're going right up to the edge of the journal. Right up to the edge, and because we've gone right up to the edge there, we need to go right to the bottom. Otherwise we'll have a funky gap that looks like it needs layering with paper, and we don't want to be doing that. We're going to cover the whole thing with our pocket, and then we don't have to layer it with paper. We won't have to layer all of it with paper anyway. We might have to layer the top pocket with some. Okay, give it a good burnish. When it's dry, what I do is, once that pocket's dry, I will go in with my skinniest ruler, and I'll just make sure that I've not got, you know, my flaps aren't stuck down. Okay, just a little tip, but wait till it's dry before you do that, because you can just gently prise it, but if you do it while it's wet, you're just going to lift it off. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got left here now. So I've got these two. So I'm just going to cut between the B's and make 2 more pockets, I think. Yeah. So we've already got this cut to the width. So I'm just going to cut between the pockets. What's that? What does this measure? Measures 4.5. So I'm just going to literally see what 2 1/4 gives me. Yeah, so 2 1/4 on this remaining piece will take me in between the B's. So I'm not cutting any of the bees' bodies away. Okay, so what I want to do now, again, score 1/2 inch at each side. We don't need to score at the bottom. We're going to have it so that it's a big pocket that runs all the way down to the bottom. Also means we don't need extra 1/2 inch there, so we're not losing any of our image, because if we scored 1/2 inch there, we'd lose some of that base. We don't need to this way. Okay. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, always 1/2 inch for your flaps minimum, unless you're really tight on paper, you know, you've only got a certain amount, then you could probably manage with 1/4 inch. Okay, fold and burnish, fold and burnish. If you've got an envelope punch board, you could use that to cut out like a rectangular notch there. That would look nice. I'll do that another time, I think. I might do that on the next journal. Show you how to do that. If you don't have an envelope punch board, it's a tool which, if you can afford it in your crafty budget and you don't already have it, go get it. Trust me. You won't regret it. Right, so what we're doing here now, so we want this to just slip just inside there. So let me have a think. I want it to just slip just inside, but it's not going to, because they're exactly the same size. So what I'm going to do is, right. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to very, very gently, small, like that, on each corner. Okay, so then that will just slip just in there, like so, and it will just come to a natural stop, and the natural stop is here. So that's how we're going to fit that to go in there, because then this is just ever so slightly smaller, so it'll slide in. I know what I mean. Okay, we don't need to ink the bottom because you're not going to see it. Okay, glue, not ink, glue on here, glue on here. We're going to just one side first, then the other. Make sure it's on top of those flaps in the bottom pocket. Okay, don't worry if it's not perfect. Okay, just get it in best you can. Okay, and then you see when we've done our pockets, the image is going to run. You've got the same image. It's going to run top to bottom, and it's going to look amazing. Okay, and then you quickly do the same with the last one. So where we've folded in there, we're just going to do a gentle snippy on the corner. Yeah, just a gentle one. Don't go mad, don't be cutting it up there. Gentle snippy. That's my technical term. And we're going to ink. Don't be cutting any of that tab away, you need it. So that would be a disaster. It wouldn't be a disaster, I'm exaggerating. Okay. Okay, and then slide it in, lift it up because I want that bee showing, right up to the edge of the book, and then it won't be in the spine. As you can see, it won't be in the spine area. Okay, now that runs the whole way, and that is going to give you a deep pocket. So that pocket there will run all the way, that one will run all the way, and then that is your shallow pocket. And then when all that's dry, you want to line that with a little piece of patterned paper. Okay, and I would probably measure that space, which is going to be 6 by 6 by, right, so you probably want to line it with a piece that measures, so that's 6, I'd want at least 1/8 of an inch increment, so I'd cut it to 5 3/4 maybe, 5 3/4 by about, you don't need any more than 2 1/2, but I've not decided what paper's going in there yet, so that's why I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing that yet. Okay, so that's that bit. All right, so we've got part of our front cover finished. We've done the inside pockets. Have I got any paper that I could just quickly use to line that? And then we're done, aren't we? We're not messing about. Yeah, I'm going to wait because the thing that takes me the longest is deciding which paper to use. So I won't put you through that pain. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover the spine here. Do I want it pink? I'm sorry. Yeah, I know I'm really boring, but I like pink. Although the green stripe's nice. And then obviously we've got the yellow as well. But I don't want it to look like clown shoes with 10 different colours. But it's already got 3 different colours on. I'm having pink. Don't care. Right, so I know that my journal measures 8.5 inches, and I know that my spine is 2 inches. So I'm just going to trim my border, which I've trimmed my polka dot off. There we go. I just trim my border. Okie doke. So 2 inches. I'm going to go just, I'm just going to go 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do 1 3/4. Sometimes I do 1/4 of an inch shorter. Sometimes I just do 1/8. I'm going to do 1/8. I'm not doing a quarter. I'm going to do an eighth. So I'm going 1 7/8, folks. 1 7/8 by, my journal's 8 1/2. So I'm going 8 and 1 2 3/8. Okay, so you've been giving your measurements here. Don't get any easier. Okay. 1 7/8 by 8 3/8 for your spine. Okay. Should have just cut 2 while I were there. But I don't know what I'm going to put on the inside. I might not have pink on the inside. Oh, wait a minute. Is that too thin? What size is my... No, don't like that. Scrap that measurement. My spine's ended up with the paper that I've added at 2 1/4. So measure your spines. Measure your spines and cut your paper 1/8 of an inch narrower. I'm going to redo that. I don't like it. It's too gappy. Yeah, I've actually got 2 3/8 there. Don't know how I've managed that. 2 3/8, so I'm going to cut it to 2 1/4. Don't like it, so I'm doing it again, 2 1/4. But I said I'd show my paper layering, so it's your fault because you all asked for it. You all asked for it. Where do you put your paper? How do you do it? Well, you asked, so now I'm doing it, and this is why I don't do it. Because it's one of those processes where there's no exact science to it. So 8 3/8. Let me just check. 8 3/8. I'm just measuring twice and cutting once. 8 1/2. 1 2, yeah, 8 3/8. 8 and 1 2 3/8. This is why I don't do paper layering videos, but everybody keeps asking for them. But I'm also not a believer in, you know, just chopping up the video and cutting out bits where something's not quite right and then showing it you again and reckoning on like I got it perfect first time, because I very often don't get it perfect first time. I've known myself have to cut paper 3 times because I've measured it all wrong. Let me just check. See, I'm happier with that. That doesn't leave as much. Yeah, I'm much happier with that. It's not as gappy. Okay. So, you know, you might need to do your own measuring and go with how you're happy with how it looks. Do you know what I mean? Because it can be a very personal thing. That might not have bothered some people, that it was a bit gappy, but it proper bothered me. Okay. It really bothered me. I didn't want it. Okay. And don't forget that by the time you've wrapped a journal cover as well with cardstock on both sides, it's going to it's almost like it's going to grow ever so slightly. Plus, you know, I could have cut my chipboard ever so slightly too big. Who knows? Who knows at this stage? Nobody. We don't know. It's Amanda land. Whatever happens, happens. So I'll probably put an eyelet in there. I might add a word there. I might put something else here, like another embellishment like this out of cardstock on the corner. I don't know yet. That's that bit. And I'll probably end up putting pink on the back as well. Okay. So, I don't know what... I'll show you how to do the spacing for the holes, but I don't know what paper I'm layering in here yet. So we have got, or we should have, a 2-inch spine. So from the inside, Okay, so I've sped this part up because it took ages and I was waffling. So all you need to do is find the centre part of your spine, okay, make a mark, and then make a mark 1/2 inch either side. So 1/2 inch in the centre, then 1/2 inch to the left of that, and 1/2 inch to the right, and do the same top and bottom. Then punch your holes, okay. Do the first one, decide on the depth. You can move your black lever on your crocodile to make sure they're all at the same depth, otherwise measure 1/4 inch, okay, and then you can set your eyelets. I'm not going to add paper on the inside of my spine, I'm going to leave it craft. So now I'll show you how to add the strings. Okay, we're back. Are we filming? Yeah, we're filming. So I've set my eyelets. Now I've only got bog standard cheap ones from Amazon and AliExpress, so they're only the ones with the standard shaft there, okay. And because this is quite thick, you might need to really squeeze on this, but mine have worked fine, okay, so yours will as well. So I've set those, they look beautiful, and I've chosen gold instead of the antique bronze. They lined up lovely, they look lovely, and I've added one to our journaling card as well. Okay, I'm not going to line that. I've decided against it. So I've got my elastic here. So we're going to do it with the hidden method. So what you want to do is, let me just think. Down through the middle first, then across and up there. Okay, like that. See, like that. There's probably a funky way where you can do it with all three, but I don't know it. So up the top, okay, and then across and through the middle one, okay. You could double these strings up if you want. Am I gonna? No, can't be bothered. No, I'm not. Right. Okay, and then obviously you just tie that one in the middle. All right. Let me just pull it a little bit. So tie this one in the middle, and if you've watched my videos, I've told you before, only tie it in a bow until you've finished your journal, because you don't know how tight you're going to need them, because it'll depend. Okay, and then for the next one, we're just going to go, how are we going to do this now? Hold on a minute. We'll go through the middle. Will we? Through the middle. Let me think. How did I do that one? Ah, that way. Down through the middle. Yeah. Up here. So we're going to have 2 strings in the middle, which might be handy. Yeah, so on this one we've gone down through the middle, up the bottom, up to the top, and we're going to go across to the middle again. Okay, and it's going to give us 2 strings in the middle, which might be kind of fun. If you go and have a look on YouTube at Midori style binding and how to add the elastics, there's probably like a really cool way of doing it so that you can do all 3 and not have 2 in the middle. But I personally, I don't know how to do it, so I'm just going to have 2 in the middle. Tie it in a bow until you've committed. So we've got 2 strings in the middle, which might be funky, and we've got that there. So in the middle we could maybe have an extra little notebook or something with plenty of room, because we've got a humongous spine. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and we will complete this part in the next tutorial, because I want this to be a little bit more interactive than this. Okay, so far we need to line that pocket, and then if we want to add something else to the belly band here, like a word, or we want to add something down here, then we can do that. but that's it for now. So you've got enough to be going on with while I come up with something fun to go on this back part here. And when I come up with it, I'll be back and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care and I'll see you soon.